Hey, how's it going? It's Keith Townsend from the CTO Advisor, and you're watching another CTO Advisor Daily Dose. We're at the Delano, not the Delano as we commonly say, but the Delano here in Las Vegas, VMworld 2018. With me is Brian Kuhn, CDO, Chief Digital Officer at OVH.
Yes.
And I've been wanting to have you guys on for quite some time because there's a lot of confusion in the market. I work for VMware, and I was off at a customer event. And a customer came up to me and said, "Hey Keith, do you really think VMware can compete with Amazon? Not when it comes to workloads and workload placement, but when it comes to public cloud." Like literally, he has this concept that VMware is still in the public cloud business. So Brian, I'm gonna let you set that up for me. Why is that even a perception at the beginning, and what is the relationship between VMware and cloud? VMware and OVH and cloud.
Good. We won't be talking about that A company. We'll talk about
No, we
OVH.
won't talk about the A
Okay,
company.
great. So OVH, and I'll specifically talk about OVH Cloud. It's the brand that we're taking to market here in the US. But let me step back a little bit because you asked for the relationship. OVH has been around since 1999, and it was founded in France by Octave Clava, and it started off in early days as a web hosting company, and today is the largest web hosting company in Europe. And we had an opportunity as OVH was going through some expansion and had a great opportunity, had some funding from KKR and Towerbrook, to have an opportunity to expand and also to start tackling the U.S. market.
Right.
So in early 2017, so about a year and a half ago, the U.S. business unit was founded, and we had that opportunity to come to the U.S. market. And we were going to come in with the normal OVH approach, is start very fundamentally tackling individual contributors and coming in with not with web hosting, but with cloud hosting and bare metal public cloud, and at the time what our private cloud offering was. And roughly in that time frame was the opportunity that because we had been a partner of VMware since 2008, and we'd won multiple awards in Europe as a partner and a support for that type of product, said, "Hey, OVH, would you like this opportunity to bid on the opportunity to acquire vCloud Air?" So that due diligence process, at the same time we were going through the strategy setup of this US organization, clearly we did the acquisition. So in May of last year we closed and acquired all of the customers, all of the data centers, and most specifically, the employees of vCloud Air. And vCloud Air became OVH US, and OVH US became vCloud Air, by taking on that operational responsibility for those customers. And thus our entry into the US market came in, and last year at this point in time was our first VMworld introducing OVH. And to that, since that point in time, we've been able to do a few really interesting things here in the US market. We've been able to open both our US data centers that we were talking about last year. So we have one in Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C.
Okay.
We have one outside Portland, Oregon, and Hillsboro, Oregon. And both of those data centers are now live with everything that we, OVH, and the OVH Cloud brand offer and bring to the market. So it's not only hosted private cloud, which is why we're here at VMworld, but it's also our bare metal server line and our public cloud offering. So we have all three of those universes to bring to market here for the US.
So from just a great business opportunity, OVH, timing to want to enter the US market, you have one customer base, facilities, employees, acquire that from the VMware vCloud Air brand. Now you're OVH company with a long history of providing cloud services, cloud services, and co-location services in Europe, expanding into US. You get obviously the the customer base of VMware, which means that you get everything that came with that, with the vCloud Director-based solution that VMware offered, and those customers consuming that. What's that customer experience today with those former vCloud Air customers?
Great question. Let me say one thing: is we are not a co-location provider. So
right.
We have 28 data centers around the world, and those are ours. And when we bring in our own bare metal and our own networking, and
so I can't call you to host my mainframe.
You cannot. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll keep looking for somebody to take my mainframe.
Sure, but pertaining to the question you were asking me, yes, vCloud Air had that vCloud Director based offering. And that's not the OVH approach. So back in that acquisition, what I just spoke about that, yes, we acquired the customers and we acquired those data centers, but those data centers are not the OVH data centers. They're not built the way that we build them. So OVH builds its own hardware, it builds its own bare metal servers, it builds its own racks and its data centers, and we do proprietary water cooling for those. So we don't use air conditioning, we use water to do that.
Okay.
For those data centers that we own and operate, that's how every server looks. So taking something like the vCloud Air data center and that footprint, those are not servers that are going to fit into that format.
Understood.
And how OVH built then that product offering, and again, we've had a hosted private cloud offer based on the VMware stack for a very long time, but that's vSphere as a service. So a lot of the understanding that we had of the vCloud Air customer base is that vCloud Director was not actually something they wanted.
Okay.
They were struggling with the vCloud Air offering because it did not have an opportunity to add in plugins, to add other offerings that, because the OVH approach was to use vSphere as a service, that as we've brought that product to market, we can offer this great hardware opportunity because you start with a base pack and we let you mix and match the hardware that you want in. So if you need X or Y or Z amount of storage, you can add that to your cloud. If you need some specialized or smaller or bigger servers, you can add that. And you can consume it like public cloud. So you can consume it by the hour.
So let me understand the use case. If I'm a vCloud Air customer, and what I wanted was extend my VMware cloud or my VMware vSphere environment from my on-prem data center off to a cloud provider, OVH, in your native form, has this private vSphere offering. That's probably best for that type of customer. Is that the scenario?
There's two things there.
Okay.
So let's take the data center extension separate from that. But yes, for someone who's trying to not have a CapEx expense and wants to move towards OpEx and do hosted private cloud and use their existing VMware engineering talent and skills to put that in the cloud, absolutely, we have that offer. And we can let you find the right size of that hardware set for you based on the host servers and on the data store sizes that we offer. You can pick the right size and know that you have the comfort of scaling up and down as you need to.
Right.
That's the hardware, right? So software, it's the VMware stack. So we're talking about vSphere and NSX. And then now let me pull that other story in. Because of the acquisition, vCloud Air had an advantage. It had a hybrid cloud manager, and which is now something, hybrid cloud extension, its successor product. That is something that we, OVH, now have the opportunity to not only bring those vCloud Air customers who are already doing solutions like data center extension or data center consolidation into the cloud or disaster recovery, we still have that software at our disposal. So HCX, we're one of the VMware partners that offers that technology to our customers to solve those problems.
All right, so let's talk about, we've talked about kind of the VMware vSphere approach to cloud. You've covered that, the private cloud, the cloud extension option. Now let's talk about more cloud native. I want to re-platform my app.
Sure.
That's something that when I looked at vCloud Air, that's not something I necessarily look at vCloud Air to do, to re-platform apps with cloud native APIs, cloud services, object storage, et cetera, OVH offerings, talk to me about OVH offerings when it comes to cloud native consumption.
Sure. I think the first thing that pops into my head when we talk about cloud native is public cloud, what you would traditionally think about that.
Yeah.
So stepping back, your question was, what do vCloud Air customers get to experience?
Right.
I want to finish that and tell you and answer your next question, which is, we're giving them an opportunity to come into a brand new hardware set with all the hardware scaling and flexibility options, new software sets, because not only is it the VMware stack, but it's solutions like Veeam and Zerto that we can bring to the story that we weren't able to do when vCloud Air was part of VMware. And it's the opportunity to go to two other cloud lines that we have, right? So you can go to bare metal, and you can use bare metal as a target for your backup or your disaster recovery solution, or you can go to our public cloud offer. So wrapping back to your question, where does this digital native, cloud native developer go? They would probably come to our public cloud offering.
Okay.
And our public cloud offering is not on the VMware stack, it's on OpenStack. So OVH has a firm commitment to openness and the openness of the cloud, thus open source, and OpenStack was a great solution for us as we were looking at the ability for a consumer who wanted to use APIs to spin things up and down and have that behavior to develop their native applications using not only our public cloud instances, but also our storage offerings.
So Brian, I think I want to leave the audience with a reason to call you guys.
Sure.
And I think that question is around integration between the two.
Yeah.
High level, tell me, what's the advantage of coming to OVH, not only to consume the traditional vSphere stack, but that public cloud stack as well?
Yes. So we're a little unique in that we have three very separate cloud offerings, and they are truly part of our global network. So whether it's worldwide in any of our 28 data centers, all of those data centers are connected with our 15 terabit per second fiber network, plus 33 other points of presence beyond that. So as a unique offering to someone coming in perhaps from vCloud Air, you have that opportunity to consume those different types of offers. You have the ability to be on that network. We have the opportunity to do a direct connect from your on-prem data center, to do the vMotions into our system there, or to behave like a cloud native developer and consume public cloud offerings. But one of the more unique things that we have is, with all of this network that's there, we have one other product called vRack that lets all of that virtual machine on vSphere or instance on public cloud all be connected via private LAN, and that's our vRack offer. And that's something that's truly unique for us if you want to take all of your network infrastructure, mix and match it, and keep it all behind the public view.
And if anyone wanted to learn more about OVH, how can they find you?
I'd like you to come to ovhcloud.com.
All right, Brian Kuhn, CTO for OVH. Appreciate you coming to the CTO Advisor here at VMworld. For more VMworld CTO Advisor coverage, visit the landing page for the videos, ctodose.com. Follow me on the web, on Twitter, at CTO Advisor. Until then, talk to you next CTO Dose.